Hello everybody and welcome back to Gaming on Caffeine. My name is Isaac and we are back with a brand new series. Today we are starting Feed the Beast Infinity for Minecraft 1.10. This is a brand new mod pack that is not actually out yet. I'm playing an alpha version that I was sent by the Feed the Beast team. So this is still in development. Mods that you see in the mod pack might not make it to final release. Some things might be changed. Mods might be added. Mods might be removed. So take everything that you see during this Let's Play with a grain of salt. But essentially, it's a brand new mod pack for Minecraft 1.10 that, as far as I know, is planned to be released next month. So I think the Feed the Beast team are scheduling to release this mod pack to the public, everybody on the Feed the Beast and Curse launchers in October sometime. But don't take my word for that. I don't work at Feed the Beast, so you'd have to ask them for a more specific date. But essentially, it's a 1.10 kitchen sink mod pack with a bunch of the new stuff for Minecraft 1.10, and I'm pretty excited about this. Something is killing me, and I'm not quite sure why. It might be the clover patch. I don't think it is. Oh, it might be the butterflies. Oh, yeah, it's probably the bees. You know, I'm just going to move away a little bit here. But yeah, it's a brand new mod pack. The Feed the Beast team did give me some early access to it, as well as a couple other people on the Feed the Beast stream team. And we're going to play through it a little bit. There are, I think, 113 mods installed right now in total. There are a couple of mods that haven't quite yet been ported over to 1.10 that I know the Feed the Beast team want to include, like Railcraft. It's not actually in yet. I'm assuming Thormcraft will also probably make its way in when it's added to 1.10. But let me quickly show you a couple of mods that are in the mod pack. First thing you're probably going to notice is that there is no NEI. NEI, I think, has updated to 1.10, but there were some issues with actually using it in 1.10, and I don't think it's actually updated anymore. And so instead, we have JEI, which is just enough items, which adds this little bar on the side, which works in almost the exact same way as NEI did. You know, you can type in stuff over here. I can type in chest, and it will come up with all the chests in the game. It works how NEI used to work, to where if you type an @ sign and then, for example, industrial craft, it will come up with all of the stuff from industrial craft, and you just got all the pages with all of that stuff in it. Speaking of which, a couple of mods have been ported over in the exact same way that they did for 1.7. So, for example, industrial craft has not changed, I don't think, at all. I'm pretty sure that everything here is exactly the same as it was in 1.7.10, and I think even 1.6.4. Industrial Craft 2 is a pretty old mod at this point, but other mods, for example, like Blood Magic, have been ported over, but kind of completely revamped. So, Blood Magic is over here. You can see there's a bunch of new stuff, Demon Crucibles, Raw Stone, all of the sigils have got some new textures, there's some new items, bunch of cool stuff. We have mods like Britannia. I don't think that Britannia has undergone any major changes just yet for 1.10, although I do think some are planned for later on during the 1.10 life cycle. Going a little further on, Ender.io, we got Chisel, of course, which I think is mostly exactly the same. We do have Ender.io, which for the most part has been ported over, but there is some cool new stuff in Ender.io that I do want to check out. We got Draconic Evolution in there. Forestry, I think, is the only other mod that hasn't been changed from 1.7, I think, or the only one that I could find in here. Extra Utilities has also been ported, if you're familiar with that mod, and changed like almost entirely. There was a bunch of new stuff. It's actually called Extra Utilities 2 now, so it's like a successor to the old Extra Utilities. And other than that, we got like Gendustry, we got all the beast stuff. We do have the new Mechanism 9 installed as well, which is pretty useful considering there is no thermal expansion for Minecraft 1.10, so no item ducts, flux ducts, no pulverizers or anything like that. So having Mechanism and having the pipes and machines from there is probably going to come in pretty useful alongside the stuff from Ender.io. Pam's Harvest Craft, Refined Storage, which is kind of like Applied Energistics. It's almost an Applied Energistics. I don't want to say clone because it is different in a couple of ways, but essentially it adds a system similar to what you would get from an Applied Energistics system, because Applied Energistics 2 has not been ported to Minecraft 1.10. And then once we go back into here, we've got Relinquary, which has also been ported, and I think changed a little bit, because I'm seeing a couple of items here that I haven't seen before. Roots, which is a new mod that I haven't played with whatsoever. And other than that, I think we've also got Tinker's Construct, of course, because what mod pack does not have Tinker's Construct in it at this point? And other than that, there are a couple of new mods in there, probably like 10 or 12 new mods that I've never used before, but I'm really interested into playing around with and tinkering with during this series. And to start with, I want to play with a mod that is not new to 1.10, but I don't think I've actually ever played with here on YouTube, and that is the Super Crafting Frame mod. So if I put like @super, these are all the items from the Super Crafting Frame. So let me quickly whip up a crafting station. Also, I'm not quite sure what is going on with my character here. Like, I've got my Minecon cape on, which is out on the back, but for some reason in here, it's kind of just like, it's really weird. I don't know what's going on there. But if we grab a crafting station, we can throw this down, I guess, just like here for now. I kind of want to find a decently nice space to set up a little bit of a wooden shack, because we do have Mechanism installed. And for anyone who's ever played a mod pack with Mechanism installed, you'll know that when the night comes around, all of the zombies and skeletons, or some of the zombies and skeletons, will have Mechanism armor on, which makes them definitely a little bit harder to kill. So let me set up like a bit of a wooden shack here. It's not going to be the nicest thing you've ever seen, but we'll do something like this just so that we don't get attacked when the night falls, because it is probably going to fall fairly soon. I did waffle on a little bit there about all the new stuff. You know what, we'll make it just a little bit higher because we've got some extra stuff here. I don't want to make it a too high roof because I do plan on using the vertical space during today's episode. So let me get rid of that. And now let's throw this down like in the corner. Also, between episodes, I'll go ahead and make like a real house. This thing is probably just going to be temporary for today's episode. But let me grab like a hatchet here, get rid of this and this. And then let's start with this Super Crafting Frame. So the Super Crafting Frame mod adds a couple of crafting frames. We're going to stick with the Super Crafting Frame, the first one here, which the mod is named after for today's episode. And to make one of these, you need a normal crafting table surrounded by sticks. So if we do something like that, grab one of those, grab some more sticks real quick, like so, and then we just shift-click this recipe in like that. Like I said, JEI over here works in a very similar way to NEI. You can just shift left-click on the little move items plus button here, which used to be the NEI question mark, and that will put all of the items into the crafting station if you happen to have them in your inventory. And essentially, what this does is it's kind of a really early way of auto-crafting stuff, but not really auto-crafting, because it's kind of manual crafting, but it makes crafting a little bit easier. So, for example, if I put down a Super Crafting Frame right about there, and then I was to quickly go and grab a little bit more wood, hopefully, before we get killed by monsters, what I can do is I can put a recipe into that Super Crafting Frame and then kind of do that recipe automatically without having to enter my crafting table. So let me show you here. If we come over here, if you shift left click, that will open up the crafting table inside of the Super Crafting Frame. And then, for example, I can teach this Super Crafting Frame to turn wood into wooden planks. So see, it didn't take an oak wood off me, it just kind of used it to store the pattern. And so now if we back out, this crafting frame is now used to turn oak wood into wood planks. So I've got 4 oak wood on me. Now, instead of having to go into my inventory and craft like this, I can simply just right click onto the Super Crafting Frame, and each time I do so, it will turn 1 oak wood log into 4 oak wood planks for me. So I can do this as many times as I want. I can go ahead and quickly whip up a door so that if we do get attacked by mobs, they don't, or if mobs do come around, they don't actually manage to get in. And so if I quickly grab another one here, we can then go ahead and teach it. I'll take it one step further and teach the system how to turn those wooden planks that we've got into sticks. So for example, if we do something like this, we'll throw one of those down like right about there. This one, we again shift left click. We'll teach this one how to turn oak planks into sticks like that. And then now if I come out and right click again, it's going to turn the oak wooden planks in my inventory into sticks for me. And we can keep going with this, and I could teach it how to make super crafting frames. I could make another one that knows how to turn oak wooden planks into crafting tables, and then a 4th one that knows how to turn crafting tables and sticks into super crafting frames. And so it's just a really easy way for the super early game if you want to be able to craft stuff without having to go into the crafting station here. For example, we're probably going to use it to make like chests and stuff. Let me quickly turn weather sounds like all the way down because I'm not a huge fan of those rain sounds whatsoever. So let me quickly do a little bit more tree farming here whilst trying not to die. We do have, of course, the new 1.10 mechanics as well. So for those of you who only play modded like me and haven't played really any 1.10 at all, there are a couple of new features to just vanilla 1.10, which I know has been out for a while, to all of those who do play vanilla stuff, but I haven't really played an awful lot of 1.10 up until now whatsoever. And so a couple of the mechanics were kind of new to me. First of all, the attack mechanic, they've got all the new attack stuff, so you've got shields now. You can kind of dual wield a shield and a sword. When you attack something, you'll see in the bottom right-hand corner next to my hatchet on the hotbar, a little sword comes up. And so if I try and spam attack something, it doesn't really work all too well. You'll see that sword kind of fills up. The optimal way to attack is to attack, wait for that sword to fill up, and then attack again, like that. Because if you just spam attack, it really doesn't do all that much damage. And there is also an auto jump option, I believe, in the game as well. Yeah, if you go to options controls, it's off by default in this mod pack. I don't know if that's going to be the case when it fully releases. But if you turn auto jump on, essentially it just allows you to, if you hold down W, I'm just holding down W and walking forward, and it will automatically jump when you walk up to a block. Pretty neat. I'm going to leave it off because there are some blocks where I don't want to auto jump up onto my blocks. I just kind of want to walk up next to them. So, let's go back in here real quick again. Let me go ahead, and I want to teach this how to make, first of all, crafting tables, but then also I want to be able to teach the super crafting frames how to make super crafting frames. So let's go ahead and make another one of these. Let's surround that with some sticks. We'll use this one to make crafting tables. So you know what, let's put that like right there. Again, shift left click. We'll teach this one. First of all, let's grab some of those. And then we'll do this. That knows how to make crafting tables. And then finally, if we go left click and then 4, 8, and then one of those, we can come into here. We can just throw all that stuff together like that. That's going to get us our final super crafting frame. And now another cool thing that we can do, now that we've got quite a few of these, you'll see they're taking up quite a bit of space, which is not too annoying, but it's pretty annoying actually, because we don't want to have just a massive wall filled with all these crafting recipes. And so what you can do is you can actually kind of combine these together, so you can have multiple super crafting frames within one super crafting frame. So if I take 4 of these, come back over to my crafting station, I can combine any number of these, really. You'll see you can do 2, 3, or 4. So right now, if I craft 2 together, it becomes a double super crafting frame. If I do 3, it becomes a triple super crafting frame. And then if I do 4, it becomes a quad super crafting frame. And now if I take this and put it on the wall over here, it's kept all of the other recipes. And now if I shift left click into here, after quickly grabbing some of this stuff, I need some more wood to do that. And now if I shift left click into this bottom one, I can go ahead and teach this one how to actually make the super crafting frames themselves. You can change between all of them over here on the left. And so now, if I wanted to make another super crafting frame, all I'd have to do is get some wood, get some sticks, get some crafting table, and make a super crafting frame. And boom, it is done. Pretty cool stuff. Like I said, not necessarily the best thing for the super late game. Like, it's not going to take over any other kind of late game auto crafting, but it's pretty nice to have. You know, I might teach this one here how to make a chest, so that every time I want a chest, I can just come over and grab a chest, throw that down there like that. Pretty cool stuff. So, spacebar and left click, by the way, still works. You can still dump everything in like that, which is pretty nice. It is still dark. Thankfully, there aren't too many mobs around me, which is pretty nice. I'm going to grab a little bit more wood here so we can make some basic tools and start to do a little bit of mining, because one thing that I do want to get done in today's episode is I want to start some really early game ore doubling with a new mod that, well, it's new to me. It might have been in older versions. I don't think it was in 1.7, but I haven't played any 1.8 or 1.9 modded Minecraft. I've kind of jumped straight to 1.10, and that mod is called Neotech. So Neotech adds a couple of really nifty little items. It adds some tanks. It kind of adds some general purpose stuff. You know, you've got some RF storage, which I kind of like energy cells, the way you can store your redstone flux. It's got some electric machines, like a furnace, electric. I think it's got a logger, which is kind of like a tree farmer, as well as some tanks and some generators as well, I think. It's got some solar panels over there. But what I want to use it for is some super early game ore doubling. So let me quickly grab a shovel, a pickaxe, and an axe here. Let's see about getting some cobblestone and hopefully a little bit of iron. Okay, so a little bit of mining later, and I've broken my wooden pickaxe, but we've got a little bit of coal, we've got a little bit of cobblestone, and so the first thing we're going to do here is obviously make a furnace, and I'll throw that down kind of right about there. By the way, if you're wondering what resource pack I'm using, this is the Svex Pure BD Craft resource pack. I'll put a link down in the description if you want to check this out. But we got a furnace, and we got a little bit of copper down there that we couldn't quite mine because our wooden pickaxe wasn't good enough. So let me get a normal pickaxe here, and let me start cooking up some cobblestone into normal stone, because the first item I want want to make is the grinder from Neotech. So this is made with 2 cobblestone, 1 stick, and 4 normal stone. You can also use any other kind of vanilla stone that you'd like, but we're just going to use normal cobblestone for now. So I'll throw 6 of those into there. While those are crafting, I'm actually going to go ahead and make another furnace as well, because I do want to start smelting some of my wood into charcoal. We do have quite a bit of coal in... actually, I won't do all of that. Let's do a little bit. We do have a fair bit of coal in here, but it's always nice to have a little bit of extra charcoal, just in case we need some more torches. So let me grab those. Let's see about grabbing some of this copper. I would like to get a little bit of iron, because it's going to make that grinder just a little bit better. But basically, the grinder gives us a really easy way to get ore doubling without the need for any redstone flux. It kind of reminds me of the grindstone from Minecraft 1.7, if you remember that. An item added by Applied Energistics, which had a crank, and you just kind of turn the crank manually in order to double the ores. This one works in a somewhat similar way, but instead of actually having a crank, you put pressure plates on top of the grinder, and then you jump on it. So if I hover over the grinder here, place any vanilla pressure plate on top of it, jump on the plate to grind ores. Better plates work faster. So I was kind of hoping we'd find some iron so that I could make an iron pressure plate, but it looks like for now I'm going to have to make some kind of stone or cobblestone pressure plate. So let's do something like this, cobblestone either side, and then a stick in the middle. That gets to our grinder. I think we can do that. Oh, we can't. Okay, so I guess we're going to have to make like a wooden pressure plate for the time being, which is not the best by any stretch of the imagination, but if we put this down here, and our little house here is getting very, very cramped very quickly, but basically what we can do, we can put a pressure plate on top of the grinder. We can put, for example, our copper ore in the input section, and then if we stand on top of it and we jump onto this wooden pressure plate, and you'll see now why I didn't put a too high roof onto this building, but if we do this and we look inside of the grinder here, you can see that we're doubling all of our ores. So we turn 1 copper ore into 2 copper grit, and then we can go ahead and throw that into the furnace and smelt it, of course, into 2 copper ingots, effectively doubling the amount of copper that we had. And so what I'm going to do here, guys, real quick now, is I'm going to go away. I'm going to do a little bit more mining, try and get some iron, because I can show you how this works with an iron pressure plate. It does go a lot faster, and then even faster if we get it in with a golden pressure plate. And so I'm going to go do that. I'm going to do a little bit more mining, and I would like to try and semi-automate this setup. I say automate. I do, of course, have to jump on it, but I would like to automate the process of taking the stuff out of the grinder, smelting it, and then having it go into a chest. So, like I said, I'm going to go away. I'm going to do some more mining. I'm going to get some iron. I'll probably make an iron pickaxe to try and go a little bit deeper, because I think we are going to need some redstone to set this up as well. So, yeah, I'm going to go away, going to do some mining, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so a little while later, I've done a little bit more mining. I've got some more iron, a little bit of gold, quite a bit of redstone, and we've gone down to about Y level 12, so the perfect level to start strip mining, to try and find some more gold and some more diamonds. I made the room that we got here a little bit bigger, so we can actually expand out and move some of this stuff. So the first thing I want to do here is, let me make myself a weighted iron pressure plate and kind of show you guys how much faster the grinder is with this thing. It's not super fast, you know, it's not like OP break the game fast, but it is definitely much, much faster than the wooden pressure plate. So we'll put 22 in there. We'll do a couple of jumps on the weighted pressure plate here. And then if we look into the grinder now, we've done 2, we're 40% through the second set. We've done 1, I guess, we're 40% through the second set. It's a little bit faster. Let's see here. So 80%. If we do one more jump, where does that take us to? 100%. So it looks like each jump does 20% with the weighted iron pressure plate. Let me do a test here and see how much it did with the wooden pressure plate. So the wooden one, we're at 40%. Standing on it like that doesn't actually affect it, so you have to jump. That took up to 53. So it looks like that does about 13. So this one will be like 66. Yeah, so this one kind of does 13. If you do it with the weighted pressure plate, it does 20. And I think the gold does a little bit more, maybe like 25-ish. So it does make it a little bit faster, takes it down from 5 jumps to 4 jumps to do each one. But this is pretty cool. I like being able to do this without having to have any kind of redstone flux up and running. Obviously not something we're going to keep for the long term, but just for doubling ores really early on, it works out quite nicely. And what I want to do now is be able to send ores directly from this grinder through to a furnace, have them smelted, and then have them be sent to a chest. So the first thing we're going to need is another furnace. I'm going to put one of those right about there. I think should work just fine. So we're going to put that there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make a transfer node from Extra Utilities 2, which works in a very similar way to the way the transfer nodes worked from the original Extra Utilities. To make this, we need 2 redstone, 1 transfer pipe, which is 2 glass, 1 redstone, and 6 stone slabs. So you get 64 at a time now, which is crazy. You used to get, I think, 8. in the previous versions. Also, let me start cooking up some of these pork chops because my hunger is getting a little bit low. I did go and get some sand. I'm making some glass as we speak. We're going to use most of that glass in just a second, but for now, let's take that. Let's go ahead and make some of these pipes, and then once we got those, I think, we need a little bit more stone in order to actually make the transfer node itself. Let me eat this raw pork chop here. But essentially, we're going to put a transfer node on here and then pipe it up and around and into the furnace here. And we're going to have to put a filter on it because by default, the transfer node tries to pull the iron ore out of the middle of the grinder instead of the iron grid. And so we are going to have to make a filter for the transfer node to tell it to specifically only pull out the grid. But we'll do that in just a second. For now, let's make sure we have ourselves a chest. Could have made that with our super crafting frame, but I think it was just easier for us to make it in the crafting table that time around. And so now, if I just do this, it's going to pull out the iron ore, like I said, instead of... Ooh, I didn't want to do that. Let me get rid of those. Put that one back down and move those to my inventory. As you can see, the transfer node is pulling out the iron ore, which is not what we want. And so we need to make a filter from Extra Utilities 2. The item filter is made with 4 redstone, 4 sticks, and then 1 string. I did kill a spider down in the mines, so we got 2 string. So if we do something like that, that's going to get us a filter. The way that these work, so let me grab... the way that this works, I should say. Let me grab some of this iron dust, right-click on it. You can blacklist, ignore metadata, ignore MBT audit. We're not going to use any of that. We just want to whitelist iron grit, so we're just going to put iron grit into here. And now... if I put that into the transfer node over here, where you can see you can put these little filters, I can now take that iron ore out. It's going to pull out the grit instead of pulling out the iron ore. Even if I put the iron ore back in and do a little bit more grinding and kind of move it through to the middle, it's not going to pull that iron ore out. And if I pull it out of there, it's never going to pull the iron ore out. It's only ever going to pull the grit out of there. And now if we do something like that, that should send it up, around, and into the top of that furnace. So if we do one more jump on there, that should turn into iron grit. That iron grit then gets pulled out into the transfer node, sent around, and into the top of the furnace. The only problem now with the system is fueling the furnace, because although we've got wood and we've got coal, it's a bit of a pain to have to manually keep putting in that coal and that wood to ensure that the furnace keeps running. And so what we're going to do is I've got a way that I'm going to automate this furnace here without using any fuel, and that comes from the solar flux mod. So what we're going to do, we're going to start by making, hopefully, a tier 2 solar panel. So, the way that you make this is with 8 basic solar panels on 1 piston. Basic solar panels are wood, redstone, and 3 mirrors. Each mirror is 3 glass and 1 iron ingot. So, we are getting some more glass. We do need 8 of these, which means we need, 24 mirrors. You make 2 each, so we need 12. Times by 3, we need 36 glass in order to make this happen. It doesn't look... oh, no, yeah, we totally have 36 glass. We don't quite have all the iron yet, so let me go ahead and throw that in there. For now, I am going to have to put the wood in there. I think we're going to need a little bit more wood to make this happen, because right now we've only got 30, which I don't think is going to be enough to make all of these. I did, however, see some sheep nearby. So what I'm going to do, the sheep doesn't relate to the wood whatsoever. The sheep relates to the fact that I want to make a bed so we can start skipping the night instead of having to hide out in our hood. You'll see there that skeleton does have armor on it, which is going to make it significantly harder to fight, so I'm just going to try and not fight it where possible. We may die here, not going to lie. There is a village, actually, on the minimap over in the top left there. I didn't quite see that earlier on. Here are my sheep. If we can just do a couple of ninja dodges here and grab all of that. Maybe grab this guy's stuff as well. Oh my god, there's the spiders. Yep, we are so very dead. Yep, there we go. Okay. Oh, we don't have keep inventory on either. We do have this little death info card, which shows me all of the stuff that I had on my persons when I died, which is just fantastic. I'm pretty sure that we do have the gravestones mod on. We also have the journey map, which is the minimap mod that shows me where I died. I'm pretty sure we got gravestones on, so I think if I go back to my death point, there should just be a gravestone there that I can break and get all of my stuff back pretty quickly. There are quite a few endermen out here, which is not really too useful for me just yet, but I do have plans for ender pearls. Oh my gosh, there were so many of them. I do have plans for ender pearls in the fairly near future. Let's see. Yes, this is my head. There we go. I'll take all my stuff back. That looks like everything. Let's get out of here. Let's see about making that bed and sleeping through the night, because I do not wish to die again. Gee whiz. We have got a nice source of lava nearby as well, which is pretty useful. Let's get the heck back in this house. There don't seem to be too many around here, so hopefully I will be able to sleep. All right, we got just enough. We got 3. Did we get 3 wall? Oh, no, we can use the light gray wall. That's fine. All right, 1, 2, 3. Let's go. And then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Boom. All right, let's throw that down, I guess, for now, like right there, and let's sleep. Jeez. All right, it is now the middle of the day. We've got our glass. Our iron is currently done smelting up. I think we need, like, woo. Okay, so my game just crashed, which is what happened there. That's why it kind of just cut randomly. And it turns out the problem was with Neotech. I right-clicked on the pressure plate on top of the grinder, and it crashed again. Whenever I tried to load back into the world, it just crashed over and over again. And so I've had to remove Neotech from the pack for the time being. Hopefully we can get it back at some point in the future. I was really hoping to use that grinder for some ore processing, but for the time being, it's not going to work, which is a bit of a shame. And I guess next episode, we're going to have to move forward and try and get some better kind of ore doubling process up and running. But before we end today's episode, I do want to show you what I was going to do to automate the furnace here without any kind of fuel using solar flux. So we're going to start by making the tier 2 solar panel, like I said, and to get that, we need the tier 1 solar panel. So let's go ahead and get a bunch of these. I think that should be right, although actually no, we need at least one more. We need 24 of those. Oh, that's cool. Look at that. I had no idea that was a thing. So if we put like this and this, I don't know if that's a Tinker's Construct thing that's new, or if that's like a different mod that's adding that, but that's kind of cool. I like that. Let's go ahead real quick and throw in like one coal and some iron in there to finish that off. Whilst we're waiting for that, we can go ahead and start making some of these solar panels here. We're missing items. We do not have any kind of planks. I did go ahead after the crash and get a little bit more oak wood, so let's go ahead and make 7 of those. We're also going to need at least 1 piston for this, which means we need another iron. We can take both of those, come back over here. So let's make 1 more set of those. Let's go ahead and make another one of those. Let's make ourselves a piston for the tier 2 version, and then let's combine all that up into the tier 2 solar panel. And so what this does, by default, it generates 8 redstone flux per tick. It has a capacity of 125,000 redstone flux, and it can transfer 64 redstone flux. But if we put this down next to a furnace, you know, I guess I can get rid of this for now, because it's not actually going to be used for anything because we don't have the grinder anymore. But if I was to go ahead and put this down right there next to my furnace, and I was to craft this thing, the furnace upgrade, which is made with 7 pieces of coal, 1 blank upgrade, which is 4 cobblestone, and another mirror, as well as 1 normal furnace, we are going to need a little bit more glass by the looks of things in order to get the mirror, which is a little bit annoying. And it also looks like we're going to need a little bit more coal as well. But essentially what that does is it allows the solar panel to transfer that redstone flux into power that can run the furnace. So let me quickly go grab a little bit more sand, which we should have over by the water just around the corner here. We've actually got quite a lot of puddles of water kind of surrounding us. So if we just go over to here, there should be quite a nice amount around here. There's a little bit down there, not as much as I would like. So let's grab a little bit of this. I'm going to go away, guys. I'm going to finish grabbing enough sand here. I'm going to get some coal, enough to make the furnace upgrade, and I'll be back in a second. And not too long later, now that we've got 3 glass and 1 more iron ingot, we can craft those together into a mirror, which we can then craft into this blank upgrade with some cobblestone like so. And then we can use that blank upgrade with another furnace like this. And by the way, if you're wondering what this is just the chest here. The crafting station can access any chest adjacent to it, or I think at least 1 chest adjacent to it. And then if we combine that up with some coal, we get the furnace upgrade. And like I said before, that allows this solar panel to convert its solar energy, its redstone flux, into energy that would run the furnace. So you can see here, it's kind of it's running down. Let me put some iron in there, and let's grab the rest of the iron off from in here and throw that in there. It's a little bit of a waste because we could have been doubling this ore, which we can't now. But just to kind of show you how this works, once this is run down, I'm going to go ahead and put the furnace upgrade in the bottom here, and then once this little fire runs out, we're not going to put any more fuel in, but the furnace will continue to run because of the fact that the solar panel here is converting that redstone flux energy into energy that the furnace can use. And you can see right now, because we made the tier 2 solar panel, it's making more than it's using on powering that furnace. It's actually generating more redstone flux and storing it up so that even when night falls and it can no longer generate power because it is a solar panel and it will only work in the day, even when night falls it can start to burn through the backup that it can hold. And so we should theoretically never run out of fuel for this furnace. That was the plan. I was going to stand here, kind of just go AFK, put all my ores in, and just go AFK with my spacebar on like this. All that stuff was then going to get pumped around into the furnace. That was going to get smelted into the whatever ingot it was with the solar panel powering it, and then we're going to have a hopper helper underneath the furnace, pulling stuff out into a chest. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out due to the fact that Neotech is apparently a little bit buggy in its current state, but that is fine. What I'm going to do, guys, for 3 episodes, I'll do a little bit more tree harvesting. I'll probably build a bit of a better house. I'm not promising the best house in the world, but I'm going to try and make the base a little bit nicer, a little bit more spacious. I'm going to do a little bit more mining, but not too much. And yeah, we'll come back, we'll work on some more stuff. There are a ton of new things that I want to try out, a bunch of new mods and a bunch of new mechanics and existing mods that I'm really looking forward to jumping into. So, as always, guys, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to hit like. It really does help out a lot. Leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys next time.